Our story begins in the year 1994, where Sega is working on Sonic X-treme for the Sega Saturn. Now, in the original timeline, Sega cancelled Sonic X-treme's release. But in this universe, Sega never cancelled Sonic X-treme and decided to release it on the Sega Saturn, thus altering the landscape for Sega, the Saturn, and the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And since we're discussing what would happen should Sonic X-treme never had been cancelled, it's best if we just explore the best-case scenario. In this highly optimistic timeline, Sonic X-treme would have been a successful title that helped sustain the Sega Saturn for longer, giving the system a better chance to compete against the PlayStation and Nintendo 64. A strong Sonic in 3D, the game would have successfully delivered a compelling 3D Sonic experience that rivaled Super Mario 64. The Saturn gains ground. With a system seller from its flagship franchise, the Saturn would have garnered better sales and more third-party support in Western markets. This could have led to more notable Saturn exclusives. The Dreamcast might never happen. A more successful Saturn could have potentially prevented Sega's decision to exit the hardware market, meaning the Dreamcast might have never existed. New characters join the canon. Tiara Bubowski, a princess intended for the game, would have become a part of the Sonic lore. The villain Fang the Sniper, who had been absent from games since Sonic the Fighters, might have become a more prominent, recurring character. The story of Sonic X-treme is inseparable from the deep internal conflict between Sega's Japanese and American branches. Successful competition against Nintendo. A successful X-treme would have directly challenged Super Mario 64, giving the Saturn a powerful selling point against the Nintendo 64 during the 1996 holiday season. Sega of America's strategy is vindicated. The success of the game would have validated Sega of America's independent strategies and creative direction, strengthening its position within the company. This could have fostered a less politically hostile development environment in the future. A successful Sonic X-treme would have significantly changed the course of Sega's console business. Sustaining the Saturn, a hit X-treme could have kept the Saturn afloat longer in Western markets, giving Sega more time to solidify its position as a hardware manufacturer. The Dreamcast may never happen. If the Saturn had been more successful, Sega might not have felt the immense pressure to move on to its next-generation console. The Dreamcast might have never existed, with Sega continuing to support the Saturn into the late 90s. Different creative directions. The internal turmoil that fueled the cancellation also led to the creation of Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast, a game that ultimately steered the franchise in a different direction. In this best-case timeline, Sonic Adventure may have been a completely different game or never made at all, as the core creative team might not have needed to pivot to a new console so quickly. As always, what are your thoughts on this really interesting video? And as always, please make sure to smash that like button, and as always, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content.